the nature of your emergency?
Welcome back to the Tactical Living Podcast. I'm your host, Ashley Walton, joined by Sergeant Walton. Clint, how are you?
I'm good.
So as you listen to this, you don't know this secret, but I'm about to share it. And that is that older ladies have a tendency to gravitate towards and have this liking for you, Clint.
It is true. And it's really funny. I have one picture that I can think of that always comes to mind, and Ashley took it at a golf tournament that we were hosting, and it's really funny.
Yeah, and I really like it. I think it's very sweet. And something that I notice whenever those types of interactions take place is all of the praise that you get. And you're so humble and you're so sweet, and you like to just engage and, you appease people in that regard. And you're very accepting of somebody telling you that you've done a good job. But there are a lot of people in the realm of being a first responder to where getting that type of recognition for the work that you do doesn't feel good.
Yeah, sometimes, I think it's hard for people to be able to accept that recognition because you almost have this mindset of you're told that you're not supposed to. You're trying to be humble. You don't want to receive that gratitude from others.
Yeah, and for a lot of people, this can almost trigger discomfort. It can make you feel guilty. It can even bring on some resentment. So I thought that we could talk about that a little bit today. And I think that for a lot of first responders, they often see their actions as just doing their job and not anything special.
Yeah, I think that, especially in the mainstream media and just society as a whole, we're told, you have the defund the police movement. You have so many people that dislike you. And the reality is there's a lot more people who actually support and love law enforcement than that are actually against you.
Yeah, there are first responders who see their actions as just doing the job, but I think too that having that sort of public praise can feel undeserved, even when you know that there's a lot that maybe was lost during whatever it is that you're being praised for, or you're the one who knows better than the person in the public eye, for example, how many other people were involved.
Yeah, and I think it is one thing to be like one kind of not mantra, but one thing I've always stood for is you want to build up the team. It's not just about you. It's if someone's giving you recognition for one thing in particular, it's making sure that your team is being highlighted in that nature too.
Something that I think the public doesn't always understand too is that recognition can sometimes resurface these memories of traumatic calls or even somebody that you lost.
Yeah, and actually I've never even considered that and thought about that as you might have a negative annotation towards your response to a specific incident to where people give you support and they're telling you you did a good job on this. And in all reality, it's not that you don't feel you didn't do a good job. It's more so of this situation was a tragic one and you had to respond to it and react to it. Yeah,
we see this a lot in military members too, where they might feel like accepting praise actually dishonors those that didn't survive.
Yeah, it's a great point, because if you see this, especially in the military realm, of people who didn't get to come home because they lost their lives. They gave that ultimate sacrifice, and there's a feeling of lack of because one reason or another.
I think too that there's this culture of humility and stoicism when you're a first responder, and this can often discourage showing pride or even seeking attention for things.
Yeah, and I think there's on the opposite end of it too. I know of people who they chase that praise. They chase that, in the public perception eye, they're not like, they're very humble, but when it goes behind closed doors, you hear them just building themselves of something better than they truly are.
Yeah, I think too. And we can say it because it happens. It's not something people talk about, but it's something that everybody who knows about it really hates, is those that are accepting praise for shit that they had no involvement in at all.
That happens all the time.
How do you cope with that?
I think for me personally, it's been one of those things is if someone's accepting praise for what it is just being able to manage it and just, knowing within that individual, they're probably lacking something and they need that. They crave that attention, and being able to tactically respond in such a way to where they know that that they didn't do anything on it.
Yeah, and I'm going to correct what you said, because they don't need that. They want that.
Yeah, that's the better terminology.
And you and I have had similar discussions around this before, to where in my mind, just knowing my mentality, my morals, my values, my character, like sitting in a briefing room and hearing somebody pat themselves on the back when everybody is sitting in silence, listening to this elephant in the room chatter on, I would never not be able to stand up and say something and call them out, and doing it in a graceful way by asking very poignant questions like, oh, well, what did you do?
Yeah. Oh, I know. Like, I can think of one specific instance to where I did that in a very tactful way, and I'm like, oh, so what did you do there? And because I don't even remember seeing you there.
Yeah. And sometimes it's important to understand that when you're just dismissing or deflecting praise, what it does on an emotional level is that it can reinforce those feelings of isolation or even low self-worth.
Yeah, it's being able to, one, not only within internally not being able to accept that praise, but you minimize that response. But also when the person is giving you that praise, they might be caught off guard by your response about it.
Yeah, and I think too, that's a great point to bring up the person who is giving you the praise, because it's important to let them do it and to show their appreciation. Because in this realm that we've had to live in for so long, where law enforcement in particular has been bashed, it's important for people like me to be able to showcase to those who are protecting and serving that I love, appreciate, and value the things that they're doing. And so if somebody is very passive towards that, they accept it in a way that makes it seem like, maybe I shouldn't have said that to them because now I'm uncomfortable for thanking them and now I feel really awkward about it, then I'm probably not going to do that again.
Yeah, exactly. And that it has that ripple effect to where then someone who is trying to show their support, they're not feeling that, maybe I did something wrong in this instance.
Yeah, because then too, what you're doing is you're taking my praise and adoration and you're shifting my perception of law enforcement in that regard. Like, okay, I came to you and I don't know, maybe you're both waiting in line for your coffee or something. And I say, thank you for your service. A lot of people do that. I don't, but a lot of people do. And that person is just kind of like a dick to you. Then in your mind, it's like, wow, I was so happy and appreciative. And a lot of people are almost starstruck when they see a police officer. There's something about the uniform and the presence and everything. And so then you go and give praise and then that person kind of acts like a dick to you. Then it's like, wait, maybe they're not what I thought they were.
Yeah. You're going to start changing that mindset of, instead of building that support and really engaging with it, you're changing one person's mindset of wanting to support you to having a negative annotation towards us. And that's what we just can't afford that.
And I think too, when you do that, it actually reinforces that us versus them mentality that, there are so many people who work in law enforcement that are trying to disassemble that mentality. And so when you're creating that barrier, it can actually do a lot of harm against you.
Yeah, and you want to be able to build those bridges more and change one person's mind in a positive way at a time. So don't create the us versus them mentality it's just accepting it and being courteous and actually having a conversation. Treat others like human beings. And that's, I think, the hardest part of being in law enforcement for this newer generation coming up, is being able to have conversations and just being able to communicate as a human.
You can definitely acknowledge the emotion without minimizing it. You can say something like, it was hard, but I did my best.
Yeah, that's a great response, and one of my favorites is always thanking them for thanking me, and I appreciate it, and be truly engaged. Don't just deflect it off. It's actually have a conversation with them. Oh, so I appreciate that. Thank you so much. But let me ask you this: when's the last time you actually had a good conversation with a cop?
And I really like that, and I think too that you can keep your perspective. You can accept the recognition, and that doesn't always mean that you're seeking it. And then, of course, you can redirect that praise to the whole team without just rejecting it entirely.
Yeah, being able to push it off in such a way to where you're sharing that recognition, to where you're able to support your troops and to support one another is super important.
I hope you've gotten some value out of today's episode. If you have, do us a favor, drop a review, subscribe down below, and as always, know that I'm sending you a long, tight hug from my home to yours.